Using the code in the build project, the container image can be built from the base image and the application. The base image is going to come from the image repository, which can very well be different than the code repository. So, for example, Docker Hub might be the base image repo where we're going to go grab a starting image that's fairly close to what we want. And GitHub might be the code repository where we have the application code in one project and then the Docker file, which would be the build instructions, in a different project. Once we have all the different pieces that we need some sort of a build system, such as Docker, for example, that can take all these different pieces and assemble them into the container image. So we're going to use GitHub and Docker Hub as an example. Over here on GitHub, we have an application project. In this illustration, it's Matilda, and we have a build project, Matilda-Docker. Matilda-Docker contains a folder for each of the different services or containers that are going to be built. And as an example of one of those, we have the web container, which has the Docker file, just like all the other folders do. And these Docker files contain the build instructions. This has the base image that we're going to start with, and then all the different changes that are going to be made to that base image to produce the container image. The base image itself, in this case PHP, is coming from Docker Hub, and that'll be in some sort of repository. So if we go to the PHP project, they have all sorts of different base images. And if we filter for one for Apache, we can see they have several that are built, like this one here, 8011 Apache Buster. Here's the regular Apache one, and so on and so forth. Let's take a look at how this build process can work. So again, we need the base image coming from Docker Hub, the application code, and a Docker file to tell the builder how to build. So we're going to use that same Matilda Docker project in this example. Let's take a look at the Docker file. So as an example, let's go ahead and we'll change from using PHP 8010 Apache, and we'll change to 8011 Apache. We'll save that change, and now we have an instruction to pull that image and then all the other instructions to install the application on the image. To do the build, we need a builder, and we're just going to use Docker as an example. So if we say Docker build, and we want to make sure that we build a brand new image, we can use the no cache instruction, because if the image is already built, Docker build won't rebuild it. And then we tell it which image it is that we want to build. And Docker build automatically looks for the Docker file inside of the directory, so we don't necessarily have to give it the full path, although you can if you need to, or if the Docker file is off in some other directory. We issue that instruction, and first things first is it has to go out to Docker Hub and grab that image, and then it's going to carry out all those different instructions. And this is going to take a while. This time lapse was probably about 5 or 6 minutes to complete this build process, and now the image is built and ready to be used. So after these images are built, they're typically stored in some kind of a repository, which again could be something like Docker Hub. And so we would end up having the base image in Docker Hub and also the container image. We'll take a look at how to get the image into the repository in the next video.